shit on. Scoot off the lot with 100 some round. Full of that get had to get in my zone. Pop you a purry to dig off the bone. These niggas be running and telling it on. How about the car, lay 'em down on the ground. Light up the blunt and I'm setting the tone. Just like I told you, I'm putting shit on. Hey, Glock 32 leg going spin. Stacking up paper, my motherfucking twin. Pay me the Dre, let it split in the wind. Look at me, babe, I done did it again. Ride with a Drake with a switch in the fin. Put the whole hood on, bitch, I'm the man. Been doing shit since way back then. I paid them digits so big, get it in. I had this young nigga going hit for hit. Just like 4 times, I'ma make it big. I found me a route and I'm chasing it. I punch on something like Mayweather kid. You better go get one, try and get in. This party expense cost more than a 10. I'ma run it back up and won't fall off again. The city getting lit, had the dark in the tent. Don't play with me, baby, I'm putting shit on. Scoot off the lot with 100 some round. Full of that get had to get in my zone. Pop you a purry to dig off the bone. These niggas be running and telling it all. How about the car, lay 'em down on the ground. Light up the blunt and I'm setting the tone. Just like I told you, I'm putting shit on.
Is it me or the circumstances? Had to talk with God, cause my heart was damaged. I be smoking heavy, cause I wanna vanish. I be needing changes, but I'm taking chances. I be sending beats to the paramedics, that's my favorite fix. I be psychedelic, I be talking shit, unapologetic. I be feeling numb off the anesthetics. I remember when they wasn't fucking with me. Now I get what I want, it be fun to be me. I'm the type to love hard, don't be fumbling me. Manifest what I want, make a life out of dream. Money stay on my mind, I get tight about that green. So I aim for the top with the sights in the beam. I'm locked in the game, I ain't fighting the freeze. I be stuck in my ways, I'ma die with the league. Got a buck for your bank, I supply what you need. If you ain't gon' support, why you following me? If it ain't about money, why you bothering me? I'm the chosen one, I got power in me. I cook in the stew, I'm devouring beats. If you want me in bando, it come with a fee. I stay on my grind till it's numb in my feet. I ain't wasting no time, I'm on rust with the lead. My little baby fine, she stay touching on me. She be banging my line like the drums on this beat. I don't do stress, that's the ugly me. When I'm facing the test, I'ma pass it with ease. I humble myself, I don't brag with the lead. I don't cap at my game, I play how I preach. If you let me go, stop asking about me. The connection is low, I'm way out your reach.
Don't play with me, baby, I'm putting shit on. Scoot off the lot with 100 some round. Full of that get had to get in my zone. Pop you a purry to dig off the bone. These niggas be running and telling it all. How about the car, lay 'em down on the ground. Light up the blunt and I'm setting the tone. Just like I told you, I'm putting shit on.
What's going on? This your boy Reckless Talk with the Reckless Talk Podcast. Man, we are back. Episode 108. We got my guy JVaz in the building. What's going on, my guy?
What up? What's going on, bro?
Man, it's an honor to have you here, man. For real, man.
Appreciate you having me.
Major honor to have you here. I'm gonna say one word. Everybody watching live. We are live on YouTube Music, and Facebook. Big shout out to Houston City Beat. Y'all can check out HoustonCityBeat.com. We are the storytellers of Houston. I'm gonna say one word before we get started. I want everybody to pay attention to this word because it means a lot. Boiler room. Boiler room.
Yeah.
We're not gonna get into it right now, but everybody remember this word. Boiler room. All right. It's saying that. What's going on, brother? You got any shots you want to give?
Hey, man, shouts out to you for having me, bro. I appreciate you, inviting me over here, and appreciate you making time for me on here as well.
Yes, sir, man. I appreciate you coming. Man, this dude got amazing podcast, man. One of the top podcasts, in my opinion, one of the top podcasts out there. And I don't mean just in Texas, I mean out there in the world. You know what I mean? I truly mean that. He's one of my favorite podcasts. Big shout out to you, my guy. Nominated for awards, you know what I mean? This dude's doing big things, you know what I mean? Like real shit. 2023 SLM nominated for Best Host and Best Podcast. You know what I mean? Dude's amazing, man. For real. Dude is amazing. And man, everyone's here, man. Everyone's in this bitch. Damn. We got E45 in this bitch, man. What's going down? We got E45, man. For real. Everybody's a motherfucker. Man, let's get started, man. This is a major honor, man. Man, you've been involved in the industry, 20 plus years, man. I'm sure you met a lot of interesting people. Who's one of the most memorable people you met, and who's some of the most memorable people you had on your show?
Man, so just to clarify that statement, I've been in the industry since I was 16. I initially did music. And since 2018, I started podcasting. So we're going on 7 years, or was it 17? So 2017, I think. I don't even remember. So for the last 8 years, I've been podcasting. But before that, all the other years, I was involved in the music industry, but it was more as an artist. But we'll talk about that later. But as far as the dopest experience that I've had, man, I think I got a couple because I don't get excited about shit. I'm weird, bro. I don't really show emotion like that. But I think one of the most exciting interviews was one that I did over the phone. When I did over the phone interview with Busy Bone, that was dope as fuck. Because that was one of those things. Then shouts out to my boy Lorenzo, shouts out to my boy Smooth Vega for making that one happen. I didn't think that was never even an option for me to even consider interviewing somebody like Busy Bone. As far as in person, one of the dopest experiences was interviewing Shadow Ramirez, just because the fact that I grew up listening to Dope House, grew up listening to SPM, and all the stories that he was telling me on and off camera about Dope House and SPM. It was so dope. It was so dope, man, because never in a million years did I think I was going to be able to sit down across the room from him, Filetto, and hear these stories. Like we're kicking back like homeboys. I'm like, bro, this is dope as fuck. You know what I mean? And I guess the coolest person I've met, again, one of those moments I was like kind of a little nervous. It was Chavo Guerrero, and again, shouts out to Smooth Vega for that. Chavo Guerrero was also a dope, person to meet.
That's dope. Hell yeah, that's dope. I'm the same way. I don't really get starstruck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I met so many celebrities, especially being from the East Coast. I can't lie though. I did get starstruck at the award show a few weeks back. It was crazy, man. It was definitely wild.
With who? Spit it out. Spit it out.
I'm a hold that one. I'm gonna hold
you
that
hold
one
on to that.
Yeah, I'm gonna hold on to that one. I'm gonna hold on to that one. I definitely am. Man, let's talk about, you got all these followers, you know what I mean, that know you as JVaz, the host of these shows and stuff, you know what I mean, the artist. How do you balance that the JVaz, the persona, and your personal life?
It's funny because the other day I was talking on the phone. I talked to Jessica. I'm gonna be working with her pretty soon, but she asked me this: what would you want me to call you, Julio or JVaz? And I was like, I'm Julio. You can call me Julio. And the reason I feel very comfortable with just being Julio is because I feel like the people on Facebook, who I am on Facebook, that posts like the most random goofy shit, that's who I am. That person on Facebook is the same person when the camera turns off. It's the same person on camera. This is me. Like, there's no like, oh, I'm JVaz. Like, my hat, I always wear my hat the same way, whether I'm on camera or not.
No.
I'm just Julio. I'm just Julio, man. JVaz is usually, I always tell people, if you know JVaz from Instagram and TikTok, then you don't really know Julio. But if you follow me on Facebook, that's who I am. I don't really share too much of my personal life on Facebook, just for the sake of, respectfully, it's nobody's business. You know what I mean? But,
nah, that's real.
But I mean, but I just try to keep who I am. I try to stay real with who I am, because tomorrow can't nobody sit here and be saying anything like, oh, he wasn't like this or he acted like this. Like, nah, bro, I am who I am. I've always feel like I've kept it real with people. So you can't ever use any of that against me. Like, you can't turn around and say, "Whoa, there was a time when JVaz did this." It's like, nah, I've always been Julio, bro. And I'm able to keep that balance just by being myself on social media. I'm not for everybody, and I respect that, and I understand that I'm not for everybody. Some people just don't like me for me, and that's cool. Like, I don't have a problem with that. But I mean, yeah, like, I already made it a long story, but long story short, I just have that balance of, this is who I am. Again, deep personal life, you're probably not going to get that, but you are going to get the character that I am off camera. Is Julio, the one you see on Facebook that just posts random shit. I was saying the most off the wall goofy shit. That's me. You know what I mean?
Yo, you be posting some shit, like, you know what you're doing. Like, you be starting some shit. You know what you're doing.
You know what I'm saying? And see, that's another thing I take pride. That's another thing I take pride on. I was just talking about that on Smokes World. Shouts out to Smokes and Mo Hustle. I was just telling them, I was like, bro, I feel like I'm very good at, I'm one of the few podcasts that could actually start to stir up conversations in a respectful manner. You know what I mean? And I just have a way of saying things without offending anybody, but getting my point across. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, big facts, big facts. That's definitely facts right there, man. Like I said, I watch a podcast. For anybody that don't know who this man is, I should definitely follow him. Is at JVaz Show everything. I mean, every platform is at JVaz. You know, I got some of the platforms in the description. But that's true, man. The way you can carry a conversation, the way you can just, you know what I mean, you just hold yourself. You know what I mean? Just the way you are towards your guests, you know what I mean? Like it's definitely, you definitely got something unique, you know what I mean? They're definitely different.
Sure.
Definitely different. Y'all remember these words, boiler room, okay? Remember that word, boiler room. Remember that word. Man, you've been involved with the industry, you know, 20 years, 20 plus years. You've seen a lot. You've seen a lot. Is the music industry something you always wanted to do? And if not, what was your passion or dreams and goals at one point?
Music. It's been music since I was a kid. Obviously, it was different though. It was again, I was born in Mexico, so growing up, I was big into Spanish music. You know, so I grew up listening to Los Huracanes, Los Tigres del Norte. So I listened to a lot of that kind of music in Spanish, and I always wanted to be a singer or whatever you want to call it, in the Spanish genre. But once we moved out here closer to Houston, I got introduced. Well, my first time I got introduced to hip hop was the mariachi people. Fuck, of course my mind's gonna go blank, and I was gonna sound like I'm bullshitting. Damn, what was these people called? They played trumpets and shit on their beats back in the Gap. I believe they're from Cali.
Trumpets on it. Man, they got me thinking.
Oh, fuck. Okay, well, whatever. It'll come up. But anyways, I got introduced to them. That was my introduction to hip hop, and then I tuned into SPM, and I was like, bro, this is something I would like to do. Like, you know, putting Spanish music aside, rap is actually pretty easy. At least that was my mentality. And when I was 16, I was in high school. I signed to an independent record label out here in Houston. They went by Moneymaker Records, Davila Entertainment. I did a 1-album deal with them. You know, the album came out. I was underage, obviously, so they had to go talk to my parents. And things didn't quite work out the way they explained it. So by default, the contract kind of got voided or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I kept going. I kept going under the name Throwed Out of Mex. So since I was a kid, I just knew I wanted to be involved in music because I love music, Spanish, English, country, whatever genre, I like it. That's why it's always been something that has to do with music, whether it was being an artist, the podcasting, the interviews. It's always been music.
No. And what made you at one point were you like, you know, I want to actually, you know, do podcasting and
so my last song that I put out was a song with Coast called the last music video I put out was called That's Life, featuring Cassette Coast. And that song, that album, I put out one original album only, and it was called The Road to Success. It was like 16 tracks on there, and a lot of the tracks on there were very personal. And there were like real life personal stories on that music. And the feedback I was getting on it was people like, you know, you go to the comments on these videos and there's people saying, man, my homeboy loved this song. We played it at his funeral. I had a song with a homegirl from out here in Hempstead and people love that song. Listen to it now. It's kind of cringe. Like people say like that shit is weird listening to it now, but people loved it to the point where people were using it as songs for their quinceañeras and shit. So I remember I sat back and I was like, bro, if I can't make music that has this kind of meaning to people, I don't want to make music no more. So there was a gap of like 3 or 4 years where I just disappeared. And then one day I was tuning in. I was on Twitter and I heard about this guy that had a podcast, Pat McAfee. He's a famous football player, ex-football player. And he had Aaron Foster on there. And when I heard Aaron Foster's podcast, when he was able to speak his mind, give us his opinion on things, I was like, damn, I want to do this. Like, I feel like this is something I can do. And my girlfriend at the time was very supportive. She was very supportive with everything I did. Shouts out to her. She was like, well, what's stopping you? I was like, shit, nothing. I got all the equipment I need. You know what I'm saying? Like I got the mics, I got everything. I just need somewhere to record. And we'll get into your first word of the show.
Yeah.
Was it Tres Delincuentes? Jenny Gray. It was Delinquent Habits is the actual name of the group. Delinquent Habits. The first group I got introduced to hip hop was Delinquent Habits. Thank you.
That's actually my aunt. Hey, Tita Jenny.
Okay, so she got it right because it was Tres Delincuentes was the name of the song by Delinquent Habits. But and I was like, man, let's do this podcast shit, man. So I hit up my homeboy Luck, Mr. Lucky. We started podcasting. It was me, Mr. Lucky. Again, my girlfriend at the time, my friends Raul and Shara, they helped out with a lot of the back idea of how to put the podcast out. And then eventually we had my homeboy Ricky. He jumped on it, and it was crazy, bro, because before I made the transition into music, like interviews, we were a comedy podcast where we would take topics that were trending on Twitter and make fun of them. You know what I'm saying? Like everyday topics to make fun of. And we charted. We were top, I think it was top 50 on Apple and top 100 on Spotify. That was at our peak.
Yeah, that's dope. That's dope.
But then here comes my dumbass thinking about, hey man, I've been in the industry for so long, we should start interviewing artists. And the moment we start interviewing artists, it's something that I love, but it's not, the following wasn't the same.
Yeah.
So I had to start all the way back from square one.
So you had to build that whole following.
I had to rebuild the following because the people that we used to do skits on the show, I had like 3 characters on there. I had my cousin Hector was a character. We had this character we named Nucci. And it was always wild, funny ass skits, and people loved it. But then that went away, and I started introducing artists on the show, and people just didn't really care for it. So I had to start all over again. It was a struggle, but I mean, it feels as if it's paying off in some sort of way.
Man, it definitely is, brother. Let me tell you, man. Like you said, you were just naming numbers. Like if whoever's just joining, whoever's watching in the future, like I say, when this man has an amazing podcast, like I'm probably one of his biggest fans. Like I truly mean that. Like check out this man's podcast for real. Like he do some amazing things for real. And remember Boiler Room. So you've been who's been one of your most memorable let me say in the past year. Who's been in the past year? Who's been one of your most memorable interviews?
Most memorable interviews in the past year.
And I'm asking that because you've done a lot of big name interviews in the past year.
Yeah. I would say I went viral for the first time in the new viral era. I interviewed this artist out of California. She's a regional artist. Her name is Josie Leon. And it was dope because she was such a down-to-earth person. And a lot of the stories she was telling me, we were able to connect to it. And we went viral on TikTok, and then Fool's Community picked it up because she talked about the diss track she did with she did a diss track towards Jenny 6ix9ine. Which, why is this memorable? Because after this track went viral, I had Jenny 6ix9ine on the phone hitting me up about, hey, I'm coming to Houston. And when I come to Houston, I want to be on your podcast so I can talk my shit. You know what I'm saying? So again, this is one of them things where I understand she gets a lot of hate, but there's always levels to this shit, bro. And you got to humble yourself to understand that I'm down here and Jenny's popularity and her level is up here. So when you have somebody from up here come holler at you because they want to be part of your show, that's dope as fuck, bro.
Yeah, nah, you know I dig it. I'm glad you just mentioned hip hop beef and diss tracks, man. As you know, there's this big hip hop beef going on with E45 and Capone from the south to the west. It's a big thing. Is E45 is making some noise. Usually I stay out of the hip hop beef. I really do. You know what I mean? But I told E45 when everything started going down. And big ups, I know y'all got an interview tomorrow that's dropping, so that's gonna be dope. I'm excited about that. Everybody check out that for sure. You've been around long enough to know and witness different phases of hip hop beef. You know what I mean? We're around the same age, so back in the 90s, it was lyrical. You know what I mean? So to see 45 E45 coming out and killing him with the lyrical after lyrical, man. Tell me how you feel about this little lyrical battle. I don't want to talk about it too much because I know you're gonna have him on, your show's airing with him tomorrow. But
Yeah.
whatever you can speak on a little bit, let's speak on that a little bit.
Man, I understand E45 is my boy. I understand where he's coming from. But one thing I asked him on the interview, like, what's the end goal? You know what I mean? Like, what is the full purpose of this? You know what I mean? And you'll get his answer on the show, but that's just to give you a feel of how I feel about it. I don't like the disrespect we get in Cali, as far as how they feel about us out here in Houston and Texas, Houston in general. And it's sad in a way that I just said this on the last show, bro. If we came together, the shit we could do. The shit we could do, bro. And instead, these people want to throw stones towards certain artists out here in Houston or say things about the way we talk or the way we are. And it's like, bro, I get it. You don't agree with the way we talk, but unfortunately, we were not raised around cholos. We were not raised around homie and ese. And that's cool, bro. If that's who you are, that's who you are. But this is who we are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like this is who we are. So when people try to act like, hey, you act black, how exactly is acting black? Like, explain that to me. You know what I mean? And one thing I always tell people, they're like, the way you talk. Bro, I didn't speak English when I came to the States. I was born in Mexico. I've been in the States pretty much my whole life. However, when I lived in the border, when we lived in, it was like Mission, Palmview, Sullivan City, right across the border in the valley. I didn't learn any English until I came closer to Houston to this town called Waller. And I started learning my English around black folks. So obviously, when I'm learning my English, I'm picking up the way they talk and the words they use. It wasn't that I was trying to be black, it's the way I learned English. So I'm sure if you would have had me somewhere in Kentucky, I'd probably be talking like, hey, howdy there, partner. Like, damn. You know what I mean? But that's not the environment I was around. So I say all that to say that's the only thing that bothers me about, people in Cali. Outside of that, shouts out to everybody out there in Cali. It's nothing but love. Once you guys can understand that if y'all don't like each other, you guys are segregated over there, that's y'all's problem. But y'all can't get mad at us out here for not thinking the same. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yo, let's go to the comments real quick. Yo, this is a good one right here. Vicente Gutierrez, big shout out to Vicente, one of the top artists we have out here in Houston. How do you act a color? Yo, real shit. You know what I mean?
How do you act a color,
shit,
bro? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's, and again, we don't get it. And I'm gonna tell you something I told somebody the other day. When I lived in the Valley, just to show you how things changed throughout the years, it was always like when my friends would come over to the house, my mom would always tell me, hey, your friend is here. Your friend is here. It didn't matter if they were black, white, whatever.
It wasn't your black friend or your white friend
And now people have to put a color to everything. Right? Like, hey, your black friend is here. Like, why can't you just be my friend? Like, why can't you just say your friend is here? You know what I'm saying? And it causes this, like, I'm assuming that's how Cali is, because there's this big division between certain Mexicans with blacks and certain Mexicans amongst themselves, like North and South. I don't know much about their politics, so I don't want to comment too much on that. But again, if they feel a certain type of way, it's not my problem. You know what I'm saying? You feel how you want to feel. I fuck with the people the way I fuck with, because people out here in Texas have always showed me love. And I can't be disrespectful to somebody who's always been respectful to me.
Yo, big time facts. Real quick, this had nothing to do with the interview. Where you get your mic from? Because your audio is fucking top notch.
My mics?
Your audio is top notch. I love it.
Appreciate it. No, this is just a Rode mic. It's just a Rode mic from Rode. Pod mic. I actually hate these mics. I don't know if you ever seen the ones I have at the studio.
Yeah.
They give you a crispier like radio sound compared to these.
Oh, okay.
And those are MXL audio broadcasting mics.
Yeah, that's dope. That's dope, man. So you mentioned in an interview last year that you want to stop podcasting, you want to stop doing interviews. and do more behind the scene type of stuff. Why do you want to stop doing interviews, and what do you specialize in behind the scenes? What do you like behind the scenes motion?
You just said my audio is crispy as fuck. That's what I do. That's what I do. Nah, so man, so I'm gonna give you a backstory so you get a better understanding. It's not something that happened overnight. I didn't just have a change of heart overnight. Earlier this year, there was a time when this summer, to be exact, I was where, you know what? I'm gonna get me I was looking for a job that was gonna pay me good with good benefits, so I could just focus on a job and stop being in front of a camera. So I found the job. It was at Giddings State School. I was there for like 4 days. And in the fourth day, GT Garza, shouts out to GT Garza, hits me up and he's like, hey man, I was talking to Gotos and we're trying to get you over there and let's see if you can meet up with him this day. How does that sound? And I was like, yeah, fuck it, we can do it. So I go over there and then, they start telling me this is what, you come over here, this is what we can do for you, blah, blah, blah. It sounded good. So I was like, well, this job's supposed to be kind of like a part-time job. I'm supposed to work 4 days out the week so I can balance it out. Well, once I'm over here, the next day, Garza calls me, hey, we have, Baby Gas coming from Cali and Toes wants you to interview him. It'll be Friday. And I was like, fuck, bro, I work Friday. You know what I'm saying? And the thing about working at the it's not really a state school for mental. It's a youth, whatever the hell it's called. But anyways, when you're in there, you become an inmate yourself. You can't have a phone. You can't have any outside communication. So I was like, you know what, bro? Fuck this job. I'm gonna quit. I'm gonna quit. So I quit the job, and all summer I was in the back of my head. I was like, I really want to stop podcasting. I want to stop podcasting, but I was just focusing on the podcast. It was my full-time gig. That's all I'm doing. And by being at the house, bro, I have never realized how boring it is to be at the house and have so little to do. I gained weight. I went up by like 40 pounds. And life is just passing you by while you're so focused chasing the bag, right? Quote unquote, chasing the bag. So I tell you that long ass story to say the reason I want to stop podcasting, or I wanted to at some point, is because I just want to have a normal life. Like I just want to, and I know it's going to sound crazy, but I like the idea of just being focused on a job that has good benefits, good pay, without always having to worry about creating content, keeping up with music, keeping up with artists, keeping up with the hottest news, being so into, damn, I got to make 5 clips per week to stay relevant. Fuck that, bro. Like I make fun of, I don't know if you saw the video I posted the other day of that content creator that was recording their food and shit. Fuck that.
Yeah.
That's what I'm tired of. I just want to live a normal life where I go into work, come home, and I will have to worry about like, oh, I'm ignoring background conversations because I'm trying to make a clip. Fuck that. That's what I'm tired of. So that's why I wanted to stop podcasting. Not saying I'm going to, but it is in the back of my head. As far as what I specialize being behind the scenes, I've said it before. One thing I take pride on is the quality of product I put out. My audio and my video is pretty damn good. I feel like it's probably some of the best content out here in Houston or Texas. And I help a lot of podcasts. There's a couple podcasts that record out of my studio that I do their audio and their video. I'm actually going to start working with, I'm going to stop by and meet some people and hopefully be able to become part of their church group that I'm not even a religious person, but I'm helping them out. They go by God's Point. So they're in Greens Point. So I want to be able to help with audio, video, and making sure that people that do put out, content and want to be doing this for a living, or people that want to put out quality content, have that good quality, so that they're not just lost in the mix of, it's good, but you can barely hear them, or it's good, but it's blurry. So, you know, make sure that they have the good quality. If I'm ever to step away, at least I know that I can help somebody else achieve their dreams to have good quality.
Man, and that's dope, man. And mad respect to you about with that, man, for real. Oh, excuse me. I had people tell me, man, this interview would never happen. Like I've had people, this would never happen. You know what I mean? And people don't realize, like, for a lot of people in the industry, it is a competition. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But for me, it's not. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna use the award show for example, right? Like when I heard we was up against each other in both categories, I was excited. But I was excited for you though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Knowing, all right, this dude, and knowing you deserve it. You know what I mean? So like I've told you, we've talked about this. Like I don't know how many times I voted for you. You know what I mean? Like you truly deserve to have podcast of the year. Like you have a dope ass podcast. You know what I mean? So the fact like you do what you do out of love. You know what I mean for the industry.
See,
you know what I mean?
one of the things that I can say, bro, when I first started, I was competitive as fuck. There was no such thing as showing love, to be honest with you. It's like, fuck that. I want to be the best, and I'm going to be the best. And I don't really, I think sometimes that's why I always tell people, I feel like the reason I don't get the recognition I deserve sometimes is because people don't really like me. I rub people the wrong way. But like I said, I know I'm not for everybody. I'm not for, really? It's like, I know I'm not for everybody, and I'm okay with that. Like, I'm not out here trying to make everybody happy or everybody like me. If you like me, I appreciate you. If you don't like me, cool. Thankfully, I'm not the only podcast you can listen to. But I say that to say I was very competitive. I was very, very competitive to where I didn't want to show people love. But years later, I think it becomes I got my confidence where I was like, look, man, if I don't win it, I didn't deserve it. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter if my quality is better. There's always somebody outworking you. And I know I could work harder than I do. But then I just spent the last 3 days playing a video game I bought where I should have been creating content. You know what I'm saying? Like I bought this game called fucking Dead Island 2 on the PS5, and I've been playing that game for 3 days nonstop instead of creating content. So whose fault is it if somebody else wins? My fault for not being consistent. So how can I be mad at somebody else for winning? You know what I mean? So now as I've gotten older, I see that like that. Like I can't be hating on somebody because they won, or I can't be like, hell no, you don't deserve it. Nah, you deserve it. Hell yeah, you deserve it. You know, we're all out here putting in work. We all got the same 24 hours. And if you won, you're more consistent than I am, you deserve it. If I didn't win it, shit, I shouldn't have been playing video games. You know what I mean? It's that simple.
Nah, that's real though. That's real. But like I said, once again, in my opinion, man, you definitely should have won podcast of the year. Like,
hey man, appreciate you, bro, and congrats for winning host of the year. That's dope.
Man, I appreciate that. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, I didn't think I had any chance at all.
No, that's but see, you're consistent, bro. You're on this bitch every single morning. Like I see you pop up. I wake up and it shows my notification you were live, and I was like, damn. and then you pop up at night again. It's like that's the consistency you gotta have and respect to win awards and shit. That's dope.
Man, I appreciate that. For me, it was an honor for me just to be named with you, with the Chris, with the Jessicas. You know what I mean? Like that's a win for me right there. Just to be mentioned with you guys. You know what I mean? With the big dogs. That's how I look at it, for real. Man, you're a veteran. You're a veteran in the industry, man. You've seen so much, the good, the bad. Where do you see the music industry going within the next few years, and do you think it's going in a good direction, and where it's at now moving forward?
The music has lost a lot of context, but thankfully, the people that are listening to this music now are cool with the dumbed down era. Music doesn't have to have meaning anymore. I think music is people follow a vibe, right? So as long as you're telling me that I'm a bad bitch at the club, independent, not needing a man, or I'm a D boy, even if I'm not, that's what I want to hear. So as far as that goes, it's going the right direction because people dig it. As far as lyricism goes, That shit went downhill a long time ago. Motherfuckers got no context on their music no more. You know what I'm saying? Like they're not saying shit in music no more. And you started seeing the, and it's funny because I see a lot of people my age. I'm 36, and they always talk about, well, man, music we used to listen to had meaning. Yeah, when we started listening to Laffy Taffy, that shit started losing meaning.
Man, I can go before that, man. When chicken noodle soup came out.
You
Chicken
noodle
like soup with a soda on the side. I was like, what the fuck?
so you know, but I do feel like, especially in Houston, we got a lot of momentum going. I just wish, going back to the beefs, instead of focusing with hating on each other or having beefs with each other, we should focus more on, hey, if I got a problem with you, let's squash it. Let me call you or your camp. Let's squash that shit and let's make a record together and put our name even higher than what it is and make the city look bigger than what it is. And that would take us a lot further. But
yes.
we do have a lot of dope representation. So I feel like it's going the right way. Maybe not the way we would want it to, but definitely the right way. Like, music, hip hop ain't dying anytime soon.
No. I definitely agree, especially with the motion that there is in Houston right now. It is crazy motion out here, man. Yeah. Like, everybody winning. You know what I mean? There's something going on, man. There's a lot of motion. And that's one thing, man. I love what I do. I love what we do, man, because, like, you know what I mean? I tell people I have a talent, and my talent is finding talent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to be able to throw events, you know, every few months and put these artists on stage. You know what I mean? I put, you know, over 40, 50 artists on stage last year. You know, 10 of those artists first time ever being on stage. You know what I mean? So that's them winning. So that means I won. You know what I mean? Like, it's Houston got some shit going right now.
Yeah.
Houston got some shit going for real.
It's a lot of hidden gems out here, bro.
Yeah. For real, man. If you could have one person on your show, like a dream collaboration, like a dream guest, who would it be?
Man, when I read that question, I'll be very honest with you, it's not even a celebrity. And it's gonna get personal as fuck. But when I first read that, before my pops passed away, I told myself, I had just got the Roadcaster and I was testing it out, and I was like, bro, my dad had a dope ass story, like, to his life. When I say dope ass, I don't mean like good, because he's been through a lot, but I was very how do I say it? I looked up to my dad just because the way he lost his mom at a young age, left his pops at 12, came over here by himself, and was able to raise us different than the way he was raised and give us everything he could. I always wanted to interview him. And the last couple of months, I remember I was like, I'm going to interview my dad, and I'm going to just get all his story on record for future, for the future. Unfortunately, he passed like a month later, never got to interview him. So if there was an interview I would like to do, it would probably be my pops. That's something that I wanted to do. That would have been dope.
That's dope. I like that answer, bro. I wasn't expecting that at all. I ask artists that all the time. A lot of people on my show, and I respect that, man. For real. You could definitely tell that you and your pops was close. And I definitely respect it, bro. For real. And I appreciate the honesty with that. Man, where do you see the podcasting world going in the next few years?
Bro, we're the new wave, bro. That's why it's important to me that even if I decide to back away, I want to be able to help you guys in any way that I can. And whenever I made the announcement that I was thinking about stepping away, that's why I wanted to make that clear. Like, hey, just because I'm stepping away from creating content myself, if you guys ever need anything, whether it's audio, video, whatever, I'm very big at. I'm not gonna say this because I think this is one of the questions, but I'll talk about that later. But I'm very big at trying to help other people. But it's the new wave, bro. It's better than radio. It's better than radio because if my favorite artist comes on the radio show and does an interview, and if I'm at work, I missed it, I'll be able to check it out on video later, but whatever, or if they have a viral moment.
Yeah.
Podcast, I can listen to this bitch when I'm on my drive to work, pause it, and finish it on my drive back home.
Yeah.
It's podcasting is where it's at. Especially if we can get creative content, not just content, but creative content on everybody's show, where it's going to create conversation, where it's going to make people want to talk about it. It's the new wave. Everybody got something to say. Everybody got a story to tell. It's just got to be interesting.
Everybody got a story to tell.
Yeah, we just got to find a way to make it interesting.
Yeah, I get some requests where it's like I gotta say to myself, no, that is not what I want. Man, I get some crazy requests. Man, who are some of the podcasts that you watch?
I watch everybody's podcast, bro. Maybe not on the consistent basis, but I try to tap in. Like I said, when you go live, I'll try to tap in for a couple minutes. Smokes World, my boy Latinx Hip Hop, TDM Talk. And this is Houston podcast. I'll start naming some bigger podcasts later on.
Big shout out to them Mexicans, man.
Yeah, shouts out to them Mexicans, man.
Yeah.
I like watching everybody's podcast, and hey, they can drop a comment if I'm lying. I'll randomly text them like, "Hey, bro, have you ever considered doing this for better quality?" Or, "Hey, bro, have you ever considered a mic stand?" Like, I'm always trying to give people pointers on how you can make their stuff better. As far as big podcasts, I was a big fan of Arian Foster's podcast. He stopped doing it. Pat McAfee changed this format. Those were two shows that I was very tuned into. As a matter of fact, I can tell you hold on, let me pull these motherfuckers up. You know what I'm saying? Instead of just randomly naming them, I can tell you what I'm listening to. All right. Damn, all these ads. So I listen to let's see. The Big Homie podcast is like a comedy podcast. Entrepreneurs on Fire. I always like to learn. I have a couple businesses that I've been trying to get involved in. So I always get like ideas or how to manage my money through podcasts. Entrepreneurs on Fire is actually a very, very good podcast. The Secret of Success podcast. That's actually one of my favorite podcasts with Eric Thomas, motivational speaker. And then Aaron Foster does a podcast with these dudes, and it's called Microdosing. It's just random shit, but that's the podcast that I really tune into pretty much every other day.
Yeah.
But like I said, I try to watch what people will consider my competition. And it's just, again, they can call me out if I'm lying. Is more if I watch them and try to give them like, "Hey, bro, your audio was a little rough. Like, if you need help, let me know." And it might sound like I'm like a sales pitch, but I don't even charge people for helping them out. And like I said, I just I'm very big on quality, and I just wish everybody had the same quality. That's why I like to reach out to people. Like if the audio is off or something, I'm always like, "Hey, bro, maybe if you got a better mic, like your shit would sound better." Or, "Hey, bro, maybe if you didn't grab the mic like that, if you just had a stand, it would sound better." But yeah, I tune into pretty much everybody locally, and then I have my little favorite random podcast that I listen to.
Yeah, hell yeah, that's dope. I definitely dig it, man. I mean, we both real big into the music industry right now. Well, what are some artists, local artists, do you have on your playlist?
On my own playlist, I have Chop the Father is an artist I'm very big on. My boy Chop, he's one of the few lyrical artists that I really enjoy listening to. AB Raps is another local artist that I really enjoy listening to. Same for the same reason. He's a lyrical artist in my opinion. Let's see. I got a couple Tillo songs on there from his last project. Obviously my boo Crystal Poppin'. She's on my playlist a couple times. Who else is on my playlist locally? I mean, your obvious answers, like I have Young Easy on there. I have the Mexican OT on there. But I would say the ones that I would wish people would get more familiar with is AB Raps, Chop the Father, Tillo. You know, 3 artists that I really fuck with heavy that I wish more people would tune in. Another artist that's getting very lyrical and obviously on his disses and shit, E45.
Man.
His delivery for real, like, and again, it might sound biased opinions and shit because I'm actually cool with these people, but his delivery is very aggressive and I like that. Let's see. I think really that's really about it that I can think of that I know I could have more than one song on my playlist.
Yeah.
But trying to see here. Yeah,
all right, let's get to everybody remember I kept mentioning Boiler Room, right? When this man first started, he like I said, it's a very successful show, man. Very successful show, amazing show. When he first started his show, he was started in a boiler room, in his boiler room.
Yeah.
With a black sheet, you know what I mean, in the back, you know what I mean? They backdrop. You said you was very, very, very competitive. You wanted to be the best. Man, you got a very successful show. Like I truly mean that.
Appreciate
you. Know what I mean? And you're no longer in the boiler room. You don't got that back
we're not in the boiler room no more.
Man, did you envision the success that you have? Did you think you would be this successful?
I didn't know if I thought it was gonna get to this point. You know what I mean? Like I'm in the same building as Goto's, fucking legendary Goto's. Being getting advice and being real cool with GT Garza. Those were things that I would have never thought was gonna happen. But I can't confidently say I always thought bigger. I always knew it was gonna be bigger than the boiler room. Because obviously that was the starting point. And I would always tell people like, hey, if we make it, then we can get a percentage of this, and that. For whatever reason, I went from having that big group of friends that were part of the show to where it's really it's just me. I mean, I do the audio, I do the video, I do the switching the cameras, I do everything. I'm a one-man army. You know what I mean? But I always envisioned something bigger than the boiler room. I just didn't think it was going to get to this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's dope, man. That's the reason why. And you knew what I was getting at. You know what I mean? And that's why I wanted to keep pushing boiler room, putting everybody's heads, man, because it's a deeper journey than what people realize. You know what I mean? I tell people all the time, like, you see us doing our shows, you see a 30-minute hour episode and think that's it. But what it takes to the background, what it takes to do an episode, you know what I mean? Yeah. And then it takes you a lot more than what it takes me, because I do live shows. You gotta edit. You still gotta edit and do this and do that. You know what I mean?
See, and I do want to give a big shout out, because again, when I was doing the podcast, I was basically the face of the podcast with them. But it was funny because we were talking about it on the comments the other day. The reason I'm real good at audio, I learned from my boy, Mr. Lucky. He taught me how to do the audio. You know what I mean? He did, we would be in the boiler room till like 1 a.m, fixing the audio, going to the fucking car, turning it up, see how it sounds. If somebody listens to it in the car, it sounds staticky. Going back into the boiler room, editing the audio some more. We always wanted to make sure that it sounds good on speakers, sounds good on headphones, it sounds good in the car. So it was a journey, bro. I went from, just so people get the idea, I went from being in the boiler room. We went to a master class in Fort Worth. It was hosted by Ma from he used to be on the Joe Budden podcast at the time. It was hosted by him. And I remember I asked him, I was like, I got to ask this question. I was like, bro, we're charted top 50. We're charted top 100. How can I make this better? And the man said, are you doing a video? I said, I'm not. He's like, that's where you're slacking. And he's like, he gave us some pointers and shit. So as soon as I got back to town, we went from being in the boiler room to on 290, there's a bar called Clicks Sports Bar. And we went to Clicks, and I was like, hey, bro, I will promote y'all if y'all let me record here. We'll be out of the way. We were doing interviews outside of Clicks with a lot of background noise, Sometimes the videos would get flagged and demonetized because Cardi B would be playing on the speaker. But we would, and then one time I had my boy Big C's from Haterproof, and it was like 120 degrees outside, sweating and shit. But again, these people believed in my vision. Every single one of my guests that have been a part of everything, every face of the podcast believed in it enough to put up with being in the heat, being over the phone when we were in the boiler room. From there, I went to Greens Point. I had a studio in Greens Point. That's around the time my dad pops. My dad passed away, so I moved out of the studio in Greens Point, and then I started doing the show with Mr. Nevada at over there on Bissonnet. We had a studio over there, and it's been a journey. We went from all that to now, like I said, we're in the same building as Goto's. Goto's is literally right next door. He stops by every time I'm there, says what's up, gives me some pointers. I would have never imagined that. Like I said, I knew it was bigger than the boiler room. I just never thought I was going to be having these relationships with people that were going to give me advice, and solid advice at that.
Yeah, the people that you rub shoulders with, you brush shoulders with, is wild. It's wild.
It's to me too, bro. Like I sit there and I'm like, bro, these people I looked up to. Like I always looked up to GT Garza, and now I can call GT Garza and get advice from him right now. I can call Gotos right now and get advice from him. I never thought I was gonna have them save on my phone and just have that relationship with them. That's dope as fuck to me.
Yeah, yo, big facts. So early in the show, at the beginning of the show, I mentioned about being starstruck, right? So it was K Reno, and I saved it. I saved this for the end for a reason. You know what I mean? Like doing what we do. You know what I mean? And it's like to be able to meet the GOAT. To what I mean, what he means to hip hop, what he means to this city, what he means to Texas. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm sitting there with wifey, whatever. You know what I mean? We chill. I look over, and I just smile. I'm like, yo, that's K Reno. You know what I mean? I'm like, babe, that's K Reno, and I'm like a little kid. And I've met mad celebrities, crazy celebrities, but it's like to meet him and to chop it up with him, and he's humble. You know
so
what I mean?
Down to earth.
Yo, for
Man.
real. Yes.
For somebody that has done so much with so much history, that dude is so down to earth.
Yeah. That was dope to chop it up for him. He gave me some words of encouragement, and you know what I mean. He signed my book and everything. I bought one of his books and stuff. Like, so yeah, that was a moment where it was like that's dope. You know what I mean? And then like 5 minutes later, that's when they called for best host. So I was able to have that moment and him see that. You know what I mean? So that was dope. That was real dope.
That's hella dope.
For real. But man, before we go ahead and end this interview, man, we got one more question for you, man.
Talk to me.
Man, you doing your thing. You been doing this for years. What advice would you give to the next generation, regardless what they doing? What advice would you give them pursuing their goals and dreams?
Stay true to yourself. Be yourself. Don't be scared to be yourself. It's better to just be yourself and be accepted by the people who appreciate who you are than to put up a persona of somebody you're not. And then when people find out you're not that person, you lose all their respect. Whatever it is that you're chasing, other people don't have to see the vision as long as you see it. Because, when I was in the boiler room, I remember there was one person that when we showed that person the boiler room, they had a smirk in their face and they laughed. They laughed as if it was a stupid ass idea. This is going nowhere. And I always remember that, you know what I mean? And I respect it because again, it's my vision. If you don't see it, it's cool because it's not your vision. Mm-hmm. The same way your vision cannot be understood by me. And that's totally fine. You don't need to have everybody support you. You don't need to have everybody say, you're right. This is going to work out. You're going to be the best. You don't need that. As long as you believe it yourself and you stay true to yourself, it's going to work out. It's just that simple.
Yes, sir, man. That was amazing advice, man. For real. Once again, man, I truly appreciate you, brother, man.
Man, I appreciate you, bro.
You killing the game. You've been killing it, man. In my opinion, you to go at this podcast shit, man. I'm keeping 100, man.
Appreciate you.
Big fans. So honored to have you here. I know you got a busy schedule. Man, we're going to go ahead and end this, man. Appreciate everybody, man. We've been live on YouTube Music, and Facebook. Man, this is episode 108, Kicking It with JVaz, man. It's a wrap. H-Town.